Wow. So was there ever a moment, I would say, Christian, let's start with you, that you kind of rethought, like, is this for me?
Well, yeah, I think every boxer goes by, past that moment where like you feel stuck at one point, hey, do I'm built for this,
Mm-hmm.
But that's when the coaches come on, you know what I mean? Especially my coach, he's like a dad figure for me,
Yeah.
Every time I would be down or doubting my own self, he'd be like, "Hey, guy, you're nah, you're gonna be a star, and that's what help you, as
Yeah.
a fighter. That if he believes in me, why I not believing on me?
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, it's always good to have a good corner and say good coach. So,
So was it just the physicality of training, or what was making you kind of think that?
well, you get to a point, that like you feel like you're getting a stop, or even in life, you
Yeah.
get to some spot. Do you feel, hey, I'm doing everything I can, but I'm still in the same spot.
Got you.
So maybe that a little bit of training, the training part, or like the skills part. I was like, man, I'm feeling like I'm getting behind.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, it's just life. That's how it goes. You don't learn everything in a minute.
Yeah.
So, but then, like I said, he was always there. Hey, you're doing good. You're doing good. All you gotta do is keep doing it. If you keep doing it, you're gonna get good at it. You know what I mean? The thing is not to stop. So, yeah, and that's what I did. I never stopped because he was there behind me every time. And look, we're here.
So how important is having patience as a fighter?
Oof, real important.
Yeah,
Hey, listen,
both of y'all smile when I said
nah,
that.
it's crazy. I mean, especially when you're learning, when you're in the beginning, you want to get done everything quick, like I said, I did a mistake, trying to get in another promotion, trying to be like, they were promising me they were going to move me quicker. So, boom, I fell into it, right? And when I should have just taken my time, I look at the whole picture and see if it's good, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say you have to be patient and in training and the whole business part. So yeah, it's really important.
Yeah.
You're learning the hard way or the easy way, but
Yeah.
either way you're learning. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So Austin, so Cujo is a dog, so I'm pretty sure you got that dog in you too. So how important is it having that? So we talked about patience. So what about that dog and that perseverance?
I've never been raised to give up, never been raised to quit. When I dedicate myself to something, I'm going to do it to the fullest potential that I can. You know, whether or not I'm behind somebody, whether or not they're surpassing me for a minute, I'm still going to do what I got to do because I got a destiny to prove. And when I wrestled, it really showed me what patience was about. Um, I got into wrestling to lose weight. Didn't think I was going to go far in it at all. And I stayed in it for a while. And I always used to get nervous. I always tried to rush the process. And my coach told me to have faith in my training because you've trained for this moment. You've trained to get to where you're at. So don't rush it. You're training to get to where you want to be at. You're not rushing for, you know, there's no need to rush. It's still going to be there at the end of the day, whether or not you go down the hard path or you go down the extremely hard path.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get to one way or another, but you don't need to take extra obstacles or extra challenges along the way to try to prove yourself to anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like Christian said a minute ago, he wanted to rush it and he learned, I could just wait and be patient and I'm going to end up the same way. So why try to rush it?
Yeah.
There's never a forward in life. You don't have a cheat code to get somewhere to be successful. You got to make your own, owner's manual. You got to live the life to leave back for somebody else. Give them the blueprint to make their way up.
Yeah.
And patience has always been, my biggest asset. I've always waited and waited till the time is right. And I've waited my whole life to get to this point. So why not wait a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
to get to the big picture of it.
Yeah. And how old are you?
I'm 22.
22. So, man, that's young, man. So how does it feel being 22 years old and you're the face of the region, right? And then how do you adapt to that? And then where do you see yourself going in about 5 to 8 years?
You know,
That's a mouthful.
You know, yeah, 5 to 8 years. It's hard to tell where I'll be. You know, where I'll be at. You know, I've gotten this far in 5 years.
He's going to be the world champion.
And, you know, and
He will undoubtedly be the best 160-pound fighter in the world in 5 years.
and I'm gonna live up to it. You know, I'm definitely gonna show why I'm here. You know, why they see me pop up on the news. You know, why they hear my name, why they see me all over social media, and I'm gonna prove to everybody that I'm not just some Amherst kid that was a troublemaker, that was some fat boy. I'm gonna show them who Austin Deonda is as a person, as a man, and definitely as a boxer. And in 5 to 8 years, I'll be looking back. I'm not going to be retired. I'm still going to be fighting because I don't give up. You know, just because you get that one big paycheck don't mean that that's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
You know, $100,000 you can go through like that. 500,000 you can go through crazy too. I want to keep stacking and keep growing as a person, as a man, and definitely as a fighter, because I want to be able to give back to my community and then give my family everything that I've left behind for them, so they don't have to go through what I went through.
So you avoided the first part of the question. He basically asked you, how does it feel at only 22 years old and boxing for such a short period of time to have already replaced me? How does that feel for
It's
you?
huge, man. At age 22, it's huge.
It's a great feeling. You know, most 22-year-olds are not doing what I'm doing. And I feel like being 22 years old, being guided the right way, you know, by a great person and a great fighter, I feel like that I'm surpassing him and that he's willingly choosing to be next to me the whole ride. You know, it's great because I've had a lot of people come with me through boxing, but only one person has stayed, and it's been Scott. And when I first started the gym, there was 15, 20 people every day here sparring. Gradually got smaller. Now it's just me and Scott. And I feel like me having that grit and having that dog in me to not give up and to be the best that I can be, that's why I'm where I'm at 22.
Let me give Austin his flowers here, and touch on some things that they both said. So, you know, they're talking about the patience and wanting the money. So, like when a fighter starts out in professional boxing, unless they have a deep amateur pedigree and get signed to a major promoter, you know what I'm saying, they might fight for $400, $800, right? Wow. And you know, Austin's had to work part-time jobs to make sure he's focused on the sport. You know what I'm saying? He's made a lot of sacrifices. He's on the cusp of making $100,000 in one night, and he's about 4 fights away from making $1 million in one night. So I mean, he's believed it through all that adversity. One thing I want to touch on that Cristian said is he said something that, you know, everybody said, what do you want in a fighter? What do you want? Speed? Do you want this? But Cristian described what is the most important thing in being a professional fighter. You have to keep showing up. That's what he described. You just keep showing up. And to describe the things that Austin does, there's a guy in here that trains and he wants to dabble in sparring, and he's been trying to spar for 5 months. I want to spar. So the other night he said, hey, I got to work for 3 hours. I can't come to sparring, but I really want to spar. I said, well, you don't want to spar. You like the idea of sparring. I called Austin, it might have been 10 weeks ago now, and he had a great job. You know, he's making like $20 an hour or something. I know that might not be a lot to some of you guys, but to a 22-year-old kid, you know, it's a good job. It worked well with his schedule. And I got a call for this camp down in Texas where there was sparring with these 2 top-level guys. And they told me, so I called Austin, and I said, hey, man, these 2 top-level guys need sparring down in Texas for 5 weeks. And Austin's first response was, when do I need to quit my job? There's no excuses. Because, see, what Austin does is incredible. He doesn't allow excuses. You know, some fighters, they'll pick a second-rate trainer, not the best trainer. They'll pick not the best manager. They'll take not the best promoter. Now, a lot of people think it's because they're not smart, but that's not what they're doing. They're scared of failure, so they want to have an excuse ready. Austin is an excuseless fighter. James Willis is an excuseless fighter. Cristian Fuentes is an excuseless fighter. Those things are important. The culture we've come up in, it's always an excuse. It's always a reason. Austin has gotten rid of them. He just does the work, and he shows up, like Christian said.
What's up, man? And it's pretty big with you guys being your age. So, Christian being 24.
It's Fight Night in Lynchburg, Virginia. September 6th in the Hill City. There's only one place to be. These are no ordinary fights. Featuring the raw power of heavyweight OG James Willis, the lightning hands of Cristian Elgio Negro Fuentes, and Amherst's own undefeated 16-0, the native nightmare, Austin Deonda. These are the fights our city's been waiting for. What happens next? Only one way to find out. Thunder and Lightning. Saturday, September 6th. Cross White Athletic Club in Lynchburg, Virginia. For tickets, message Scott Cujo Sigmon on Facebook.